Hi, my name is Hannah Hartwell, and today we are going to be learning about the fire safety program and what we can do to help prevent it from our homes. And we're going to meet the director of the Salem County Fire Academy, Mr. Leroy Pierce. Thank you, Director Pierce, for teaching us about fire safety. What do you do here at the Fire Academy?
Well, Hannah, first, thanks for coming today. A little bit about myself and the staff here at the Fire Academy. As the Fire Academy Director, I'm responsible to make sure that my staff and I provide training to all the Firefighter 1 recruits, or the new firefighters coming into the fire departments. We also provide training for the veteran firefighters and EMTs throughout the county and throughout our tri-county and actually tri-state area. And another important part of what we do is fire prevention and fire safety education for both the public, folks like your parents, and also for children in the schools.
What are the biggest fire dangers in the home for children?
Hannah, there's a lot of dangers in the home with regard to a fire, especially for children. A few things: make sure the matches and lighters are put away. Make sure that children don't play with matches or lighters or candles. If candles are lit in the home, leave them alone, basically. When your mom or dad are cooking in the kitchen, remind them to put the handles around above the stove so small children can't grab the handles on the pot, pull the pot over and cause a fire on the stove, or pull the hot food down on top of them, causing burns. Making sure that extension cords aren't overly loaded. Around Christmas time, they plug a lot of things into an extension cord, which is oftentimes unsafe. And then most of all, most importantly, make sure that you have an exit drill in the home so you and your family know what the plan is in the event of a fire.
What can kids do to help prevent a fire?
Children can do a lot to help with fire safety in the home. Things that we talk about today, things that we talk about in the schools with children, hopefully they can go home and remind their parents to check the smoke detectors, to make sure that they're tested every month, to make sure that they change the batteries in the smoke detector when we change the clock, spring forward, fall back each time the time changes. Make sure that the batteries in the smoke detectors are changed at those times. Make sure that you have an exit drill in the home and that you practice it, that everyone knows that there are two ways out of a particular bedroom, two ways out of the living room, two ways out of the kitchen. And it doesn't matter what floor of the house if you're on. If you're on the first floor, if you have a second-story home, that everyone in the home knows the ways out of the home.
What should kids do if they're in a fire?
Well, Hannah, if you're involved in a fire and you hear the smoke detectors going off in the middle of the night, or if you see smoke coming under your doors at some point, or if your parents or a family member say there's a fire, you need to make sure that you don't panic and you stay calm. Think about when you go to bed at night, make sure that your bedroom door is closed, and that's going to help you remain safe in your room. It's going to keep smoke out if there's a fire somewhere else in the house. If you hear the smoke detector go off, you need to come out of your bed and stay low and go, which means you stay close to the floor because that's where all the clean air and all the heat is all above you. So you're going to check your door. You're going to feel the door with the back part of your hand to feel if it's hot. If it's hot, you don't open the door. If it's not hot and you don't see smoke coming in underneath of it, you need to open the door really slowly to see if there's smoke out in the hallway. If there's smoke out in the hallway, or if your door's hot, you need to use that second exit that we talked about leaving your bedroom by a window or another door if you happen to have another means of exit from your bedroom. Make sure that you don't hide under the bed. Make sure that you don't hide in a closet, because firefighters are coming into the house to look for you and to save your life, and they can find you a lot quicker if they find you out in the room in a corner or by the windows or by a door. Again, once you leave the house, never ever ever go back into the house. So once you get out, stay out.
You mentioned a fire escape plan. How do you make one? Well,
it's real simple, and I've set a diagram out on the table here. I'll use a what we call a grid sheet for the home fire escape plan. And what you need to do is, with your parents, sit down and draw out a floor plan. And I'll use my house as an example. And you need to make sure that you draw in all the doors and windows, and you draw in all the bedrooms and all the rooms in the home, and identify ways out of each bedroom and each of the rooms in the house. For example, this is your room. Let's say this happened to be your room. There are 2 windows in the room and a door, and then the hallway. So we would identify one way out for Hannah would be out the hallway and out the front door. Another way out would be out the windows if you felt the door and the door was hot or there was smoke coming out from under the door like we talked about earlier. Then you would use the second way out of your house, which would be open or break a window and climb out. And then at the end of the drill or at the end of the escape, what you need to have clearly shown in your plan is where all the family members are going to meet up at. And in the case of my home, my children are told that they go next door to their aunt and uncle's house who live next door to us. So that's our point where we would muster or where we'd rally everybody together. And we would then determine whether or not all 6 of us are present at that particular location.
Thank you, Director Pierce, for your time. I hope all the kids and parents watching this video take it seriously.
Well, Hannah, thank you for coming in. Thank you for being interested. Remember what we talked about today about all these principles of fire safety. It's important. It's for your safety, the safety of your parents, and everyone in your home.
Now we're going to meet a kid here who saved her family's lives. I'm staying with Haley and her mom. So what was it that saved your family's lives?
Well, Fire Safety Week came and they taught us on how to change the batteries in a smoke detector and have an escape plan for the fire. So I nagged my stepfather to change the batteries, and then 3 months later the fire came.
How did you feel when your mom woke you up?
I didn't think it was real. I thought they were just making dinner and things got out of hand and smoke just rised. But I found out that it was serious. I realized it was serious when I got outside and looked back into the house, and I couldn't see anything except for smoke.
What did you do to make sure your children understood that this was a real fire?
I think when I went into Haley's room first is that I literally had to touch her and wake her up and shake her and tell her that there was a fire happening. And then with the younger one, I didn't wake him up, I just carried him, you know. With her, she was so big that I had to shake her. I had to physically tell her this was real, we got to get out.
Did you have a fire escape plan?
We did. When Haley came home with the information from Fire Safety Week, we developed one then. Our plan was to meet at the tree, and Haley changed it to the mailbox. And that night, because the fire was in the front of the house, we actually had to change the plan instantly, and we met on the back end of the house on the deck.
What would you say to a kid to make them understand fire safety?
I would say that they need to get it home to their parents, that they need to change the battery right away, and to make sure they have a fire safety plan.
What advice would you give to parents about fire safety?
My advice for parents would be to listen to their children, follow the information that they get for Fire Safety Week, act on that information, change the smoke detector batteries, and also have an escape plan.
Thank you both for your time and your story. Haley, thank you for taking your information home to your parents. And thank you, Mom, for listening. And remember, once you're out, stay out.
All right, guys, the reason we're here is we know that you guys have an evacuation plan in case of a fire. We basically just want to observe you guys and actually how you guys perform that task. One of the things that you want to remember as you kids are doing this is when you guys hear the smoke alarm, I'll actually push the button to sound the alarm. I want you guys to roll out of bed like you normally would, go up to the door, feel the door with the back of your hand, okay? Never hold on to the doorknob because you're going to have a tendency to hold on to the knob. Whereas if you actually put your hand up to it and you feel the heat, you pull away. If you do feel the heat, you're going to use your second means of egress, which would be the window. If you don't feel it, then you're going to go out like you would normally go out to. All right, one thing I want you guys to do is I want you to go and wait by the mailbox where your normal meeting place is, and I want you just to hang back for a little bit, and then once they get out of the house, I want you to follow them, okay? One thing that you want to do too, and I recommend doing this for your fire drills, is taking a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper write down cool door, no smoke, or hot door, smoke. And then that would drive them to go out whatever exit that they need to go out to. All right? Any questions? Okay.
Come here, Yogs. Come here, Yogs. Good boy.
That's good.
All right, that was a really good job. You know, you guys are all out here. You guys are accounted for. Just remember, if the dog doesn't come out, never go back in for the dog, because it becomes a domino effect. You know, next thing you know, somebody goes back in for the dog, that something happens to them, now somebody else wants to go back in there. All of a sudden, now we have 2 or 3 people that we have to rescue rather than just, you know, going in and maybe doing a simple search for the dog. A lot of the times, these animals are, you know, they're a lot smarter than you think. They'll beeline it out of the house before you even know it. They might be out in the backyard, you know, and you're going, how'd they get out? And, you know, they went through a window or something like that, just like we would. A couple other things to remember is, you know, as soon as the fire department or the police get here, make sure you notify them right away if everyone is out of the house and accounted for. That way, you know, we make sure that we're not trying to run back in, rescue anybody that, you know, isn't there and stuff like that. I see that you have a blanket in the window. A lot of times we tell people to use that as a method to, you know, let us know that somebody is still in the house and they couldn't get out. You know, I know you guys were using it to sort of help, you know, get out the window and stuff like that without getting injured. That's great. But just let us know that. That way we're not, you know, trying to run around and stuff like that. A couple other things is you want to practice maybe a couple means of egress. You had the window, you had the front door. Maybe, you know, next drill, have a meeting place in the backyard. Run out the back door, you know, meet out back, stuff like that, and then walk as a family once everybody is out. You always want to make sure that, you know, as parents, one of the biggest things that, you know, that you're going to want to do is make sure your kids are okay and stuff like that. That's why usually we try to tell you guys to have a means of egress and a point of meeting where you can visually see that door. That way, you know, as your kids are running out and stuff like that, they see you, you see them, they're going to want to come right to you. You know, and if you guys are standing here and stuff like that, they're not going to want to cross the road, go to a neighbor's house that they know that might be a friend or something like that. We don't want them crossing the road, get hit by a car. You know, now we have, not only do we have your house on fire, but we have another emergency that we have to, you know, supersedes the house being on fire that we have to take care of. I didn't see anything else. You have anything?
No, I like the fact how you guys used 2 means of egress. The one used the one out of the window, and the other one came out the door. That was really good of you guys. That's one thing that you want to keep in mind, especially if you're in a situation and you wake up in the middle of the night and you go to the door and you find that the door is hot with the back of your hand. You have to have another means of egress. So by putting the blanket in the window and using it the way you did is an outstanding job. And with the other one going out the door, you knew that you were safe going out that door, and then you ran right to mom. You both did, and that's what we expect you to do. But whatever you do, make sure you have accountability of everybody in your household, and then once the fireman comes over, make sure you let them know, again, like what he said, that everybody is out of the house and everybody's accounted for, okay? But other than that, you guys did an awesome job. Do you guys have any questions or anything like that?
I don't have any questions.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. You guys did a great job. Good job, guys.
Thank you. Good job. Good job.